Hello, I'm Carmen, and welcome to the Featherweight Shop. Today is part 2 of a tutorial on the wiring to your Featherweight light. Last time we did a basic cleaning of the wires while they were still attached to the machine in order to remove some of the residue that can build up on those wires. But sometimes that residue or corrosion is not just here, but extends all the way up to the light. And if that's the case, we need to remove those wires, also the switch, and then clean and repair any damage to those wires. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's actually a pretty simple process. You'll learn a lot about your Featherweight with this simple maintenance procedure as well. I wear gloves, as there are oils and residues that I want to keep off my hands, and safety glasses to keep any flecks from my eyes. You'll need to keep track of several screws and parts, so I recommend a magnetic dish like this one that we sell that has the Featherweight decal design. Let's get started. First, make sure your machine is unplugged, and next remove the light bulb by simply pushing in and turning counterclockwise. Next, remove the screw on the power receptacle, and you'll do all these with the safety Vera screwdriver. And then gently pull out on the receptacle. Remove wire nuts on position 1 and 3, and there's actually 4 wires on the back of this receptacle. 2 that go to the light and 2 that go to the motor. Then loosen and remove this wire clamp and screw. Remove the light switch, which is held on by this round thumb nut and a thin hexagon nut that we use a 9/16 wrench to take off. Push the light switch down into the bottom of the machine, and then remove this screw on the side that's holding the wire on. Now remove the screw that holds the lampshade on. Straighten the lead tube and make sure both wires are free from the receptacle. Then pull the light and wiring out of the top of the machine. And you may have to wiggle it a little bit to get past all the gears. Once you have it removed, you can clean this off with a brush and some kerosene like we did on the previous tutorial. Inspect the tube for cracks, and we repair these cracks with something called heat shrink tubing. This is a special plastic that shrinks when heat is applied to it. We use it to protect wires and repair items like the wire tube. It's really common stuff, and you can buy it at any hardware store, even in a variety pack of sizes. To repair this crack here, we're going to cut a little of the tubing just with scissors, cut it to length. and then you open the end of it, slide the wires inside it, and slide it up and over the crack. Now we use an ordinary barbecue type lighter, and without holding the flame actually onto the plastic but close, we just let the heat from the flame start to shrink that tubing. And then turn it over, do the other side, and it just shrinks around that lead tubing, protecting that wiring. Now our crack is repaired. And on the end of the wire where the eyelet is, if the wiring is exposed, if the insulation is back, you can also use a small piece of the heat shrink tubing on that as well to protect the wiring. Replace the wires and light back into the machine. Notice that one of the wires is longer than the other. After fishing the wires down through this hole here, attach the long wire back to the light switch, and notice how this notch on the back of the switch needs to face towards the receptacle. Push the light switch back up through the hole and then replace the thin nut and then put the round thumb nut back on. And because it's Bakelite, you don't want to over tighten this or it could crack. Just snug. Back underneath, we've already attached the long wire to the light switch, and now the short wire goes to the number 1 position on the receptacle. And finally, the number 3 position gets 2 wires, one that's coming from the light switch and also the one from the motor. And the little brass washer. Reattach the screw to the receptacle. Put the screw back in the wire clamp. And before tightening all the way, push the wire tube away from the gears. And then put the screw back in the lampshade. And the last step is to put the light bulb in, and we are going to replace this with one of the bright LED bulbs. Plug your machine back in, and we're all done. Your light wiring is clean, maintained, and ready to be back in service. Now sometimes your Featherweight light will flicker, and that's due to the pins in the light socket being worn out. And in the next tutorial, we'll show you how to repair that. Give us a call if you have any questions, and have a great day.